Little Sunday morning cruise on the 890, I think. Test one of the adjustments that I made. Figured I'd go out before the world starts asking too much of me here on a Sunday morning. So the adjustments I made, I moved the bars back in the clamp, trying to give it a little bit more stability, make it feel a little bit more saloon-like, more leisurely-like, less twitchy. Right now, what I can tell you is that change didn't really improve anything. At least not like I had hoped. So I think we'll go ahead and move them back when we get home. Nice. Is this? Alright. Just gonna go ahead and handle this while the camera's rolling. So yeah, KTM, I don't know, I mean, that's not a it's not an uncommon issue that I have, and it has been well documented. And I don't know if it's because of these Mitas EO7s, tubeless, but she loses about 6 to 8 pounds a week. It's probably a little too much, but that's okay. But yeah, she loses about 6 to 8 pounds every week, and that's just enough to be annoying. So I don't like that. Alright. The rear, for some reason, it's just the front. I don't know if it's a wheel issue or a tire issue or whatever, but here we go. And we're off. It's not going to be a long ride, and it's not going to be a hard ride. It's just I do like the bar position a little better for standing, that's for sure. Definitely a different animal from the Africa Twin. I mean, of course it is. It's a totally different bike. Its design purpose is totally different. And we also have got a trip coming up next week. Going to somewhere in southern-ish Utah. I haven't decided if it's going to be Moab or Bryce Canyon. But it's going to be one of those, and I'm not sure what bike I want to take yet. The AT is exhibiting some old bike problems. I wouldn't say old bike, she's not old, but she's 7 years old and on the original chain and the original sprockets. And as a result, she's making some noises that I don't particularly care for. So, and I'm not sure, yeah, and I'm not going to have time to really sort it out. I'm pretty sure it's just nearly 20,000 miles on the original chain and sprockets. They're probably a bit cooked, although they're not shark tooth. I think it's more the chain than it is the sprockets. Anyway, so I'm not sure what bike we're going to take, so I figured get the 890 dialed, like dialed, and just in case we want to take it for our trip. I figure what better way to do that than take it out on a Sunday morning after making a couple of adjustments. But the adjustments I made, I think I'm gonna reverse, just put it back to the way I had it, because it was good the way I had it. I thought maybe I could improve it, make it a little bit better. The other reason I wanted to go for a ride, I don't know, I got some bullshit on my mind, and it is bullshit. It is just garbage. It's just unfiltered, sort of just whatever. And the motorcycle, as all of you know, motorcycles can really help sort of clear that shit out. So this is kind of going to be a 3-for-1 special. And when I say bullshit, I don't mean like not really life's bullshit, because things are, I mean, in terms of things at home and the project and whatnot, things are good there. Things are squared away there. It's just more of my internal bullshit. I'm a fairly cynical person by nature, and on top of that, I have some sort of, yeah, I'm not going to go into my mental health. Just know that I have some issues, some mental health issues, some demons, if you will, that like to come out and toy with me every once in a while. I really used to let the demons out of their cage, and just it would just kind of let it run my life. Not in the sense that I would do like bad things, but it would affect my decisions, and I would let it control the way I treated people, and the way I acted towards people, and the way I treated myself. And I've really tried hard to work on that over the last 6-8 months or so, and I feel like I've had success to a degree, but every once in a while I do wake up and the demons want out. So at 42, you start to amass a little bit of a collection over time. It's just the nature of life and all the bullshit that life throws at you over the course of 40 plus years. So it'd be like that sometimes. So when it gets like that, you get on a motorcycle and you just clear your head. I'm not riding fast. I'm not interested in riding fast, and on the 890 I certainly can. She'll definitely let me get after it if I want her to, or if I want to, but that's not what I'm interested in. Some people like to get on their bikes and just go mock Jesus until those thoughts and feelings and whatnot are gone, and there's a big part of me that can understand that. From the motorcycle standpoint and what it requires of you, and the mental fortitude, you have to be so switched on, and you have to be that way when you're on a motorcycle anyway. But when you're really going that fast and you're really moving at pace, you really have to be present, and you really have to be dialed in and switched on. And so for a lot of people, that's what works for them, and I can respect that. I can respect that. It just isn't something that I do. There's a lot of stuff I still want to do and see and accomplish, and I'm not really interested in leaving the planet prematurely, especially if it's something that I have relative control over. And I say relative control because, obviously, there's certain things that are beyond our control when we get on motorcycles, but going 150 certainly introduces a lot more variables. So I like this road. Kind of anytime I make adjustments to a bike, this is the road I like to take it on, because it's not a fast road, but it's not a smooth road. They have done work on the road, but it has a lot of dips and potholes and just uneven surfaces. So the suspension, you get a feel for what the suspension wants to do on the road, and it's got some good twisty corners and sweeping turns, and so anything you do steering wise, you notice. And I've definitely fiddled around with the steering setup a little bit. So actually, now that I've ridden it for a minute after these adjustments, I think I kind of like it. Like I said, all I did is move the bars back. I actually just moved the factory bar clamps rearward on the steering stem. So if you look down, you can see the holes there. I don't know if you can. I'm riding, so I'm not going to try to make that big of a deal of it. You get the idea. I just wanted to bring the bars a little closer to me, give me a little bit more leverage, and just kind of stabilize things. And so far, yeah, I mean, it's not a big difference. It didn't make anything worse. So, dead deer. Didn't make anything worse, so I'll probably just stick with it. I always take my tools with me when I go on bigger rides, just that way if I need to mess with anything, I can. So, definitely have my tools with me next week on the trip. See if this Jeep lets his intrusive thoughts win. Nope. Stayed put. That's cool. Appreciate it, buddy. So, yeah, so already, I mean, we're, 10 minutes, 12 minutes into this ride, and I'm already starting to kind of feel better. Plus, you can get your thoughts out loud. Even if there wasn't a camera here, I'd be talking to myself, so at least this kind of lets you guys in a little bit. Not even sure if I'll post this. Not sure how many of you would be interested in it, but here we are. Yeah, you can feel that wind now. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go ahead and turn around. Let's do that. Oh, we got a neutral. KTM doing KTM things. We got a neutral, and she didn't want to go. I was wondering why she didn't want to turn in. That wasn't very nice. Granted, it's probably my fault because I've been riding the tits off the Africa Twin, and everything about the Africa Twin is just so much more refined. Even though it's 6 years older than my 890, it's just Honda they had it figured out. And when they reintroduced the Africa Twin in 2016, they took their time. You could tell they took 13, 14 years to bring the Africa Twin back, and the first versions of the Africa Twin were fantastic. The XRV 750 is just such a wonderful motorcycle, and Honda took what they learned from that motorcycle and they applied, I really feel like they applied a lot of the same ideals to the new models, the CRF 1000L. And in 2016, when that bike came out, I mean, it was announced in 2015, and I'm pretty sure the hordes of YouTube personalities and magazine editors and whatnot got their hands on the African Twin early. But for 2016 and 2017, I really feel like Honda really took what they learned on the XR 750 or XRV 750 and really, they just really built a refined version of an already excellent motorcycle. Obviously it's injected and a bigger displacement. And, I mean, it's not even the same bike, but they took the same philosophy, they took the same heritage and a lot of the same DNA, and they just brought it up to, you know, modern bike standards. And KTM, you know, KTM just haven't done that. KTM makes their, I feel like KTM makes their living, pays their bills with their enduro bikes and their dirt bikes, their purpose-built off-road bikes, and those are amazing motorcycles. I mean, they just are. The EXC line, the 350, the 450, the 500, they're very good, and their XC line, their motocross line, their two-stroke line. I mean, KTM has been at the forefront of every hardcore off-road racing discipline for the last 20 years. So I think what they have done with the 890 and even the 1190 and 1290, 1090s and whatnot, I think they thought that same philosophy would apply, and in terms of performance, it most certainly does. The 890, especially the R model, man, it's an absolute weapon in the right hands. But the majority of the people that are buying those motorcycles, or I should say these motorcycles, they're not Chris Birch, they're not Adam Riemann, they're not Greg Gordine, they aren't these professional, you know, hard enduro riders that have, you know, 20 years of off-road pedigree behind them to make them do what the bike is capable of. Most people that buy these KTM adventure bikes are like me. They spend a fair amount of time on the pavement on the way to you know, sections of dirt and sections of off-road, but those sections are usually maintained dirt and the occasional two-track, but the majority of the life for the motorcycles are spent like this, just punching out highway miles or, you know, asphalt miles, and because of that, they come across as unrefined, and they come across as glitchy and substandard, and to a degree, I would agree with that. To a degree, yeah, I mean, I've had this one for a little over a year now, about a year and a half actually, almost to the day, and it's given me some drama, not gonna lie. Not a lot, but it has, and I do notice some of its unrefinement. The hard starting in the morning is a thing, but whatever, it starts. And yeah, it's a little rattly in the engine, and it's not as smooth and as refined as some of the other bikes, but it wasn't meant to be. So I think people have to temper their expectations. But that being said, I do find some of those unrefined details to be a bit annoying. One of them being that you get first and second gear, they just sort of decide where they want to be, and and if you have been off the bike for a while and you've been riding other bikes, then you forget how deliberate you have to be. And that's exactly what happened to me back there. Sorry, I know it was a long rant, but I'm just sharing my thoughts. But outside of that, I mean, the motorcycle is fantastic. It's a great motorcycle, and it has a lot of character in its own right. So, still puts a smile on my face. It has since the day I bought it, and yeah. We've got a cyclist here, and this Super Duty is doing the right thing, giving him the room that he needs to go around this turn. Good on you, buddy. Good on you. It is the right thing to do. The right thing you are doing. Doing the right thing you are. So we'll just go ahead and get around him now and give him some space. And like, I know there's going to be some people out there that disagree with everything I just said. My KTM is amazing, it's perfect in every way, and it's never given me any trouble. And the people that have problems with KTM just hate on KTM, and then I'll get the other side of that coin that it's like, my KTM's my 890 is the biggest piece of shit I've ever owned, and there's truth on both sides of that. The thing about it is that it's that individual's truth. It's not the gospel truth. It's not the definitive, documented, scientific, unrefutable truth. It's just your version of the truth. And when I say your version of the truth, I don't mean, you know, you're embellishing or lying or not telling the whole story, but it's just like the opinion I just shared. That's my version of the truth. It's my truth. And hey, there we go. There's a proper first gear. All right, let's see what happens. Nope. Wanting to kill me as I turn right here? Nope, we're good. So, yeah, it's just like the opinion I just shared. That's my truth, right? Just like me and the Africa Twin. That's my truth. I feel like the 2017 Honda Africa Twin is the best motorcycle ever engineered, built, produced, and sold in the history of ever. But that's my truth. That's not everybody else's truth. There's people that have ridden other motorcycles that would get on my Africa Twin and go, it's boring. Man, it's this, man, it's that. Yeah, it's good, but it doesn't do it for me, and that's okay. And that's okay. And I don't really care. You know, like, you can disagree with my truth, and that's totally fine. And we can disagree with each other's truths, and that's also just totally fine. But at the end of the day, I don't really care. That's up to you. And the people that get upset when other people disagree with them and disagree with their truth, man, I just don't understand that. Kind of getting back to that, you know, toxic sort of letting the demons win, you know, kind of shit that I was talking about at the beginning of this ride. And that used to be me. And if I don't keep those demons in check, if I don't keep a lid on it, then it can still be me. I can still find myself getting sucked into getting annoyed and upset with folks for not agreeing with me, and it's stupid. It's ridiculous. And yeah. So it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Anyway, I think that's enough for now.